Next up in the product discovery section, we have got Algolia. So their story, it began in 2012 with this idea of creating blazing fast, instant and relevant search and discovery experiences. In essence, they reduce the need for online visitors and in-app users, like using any web, mobile or voice device, to needlessly forage for information. And they did this by surfacing the desired information in as short of a time as possible. So millions of developers all around the world, they use and love Algolia so that they can unleash the power of search across all of their digital properties. They use it because they're API first. They unlock incredible flexibility. They build blazing fast speed into the Algolia APIs, and they do it because they know that developers just want to build cool things and innovate. I'm talking Under Armour, LaCoste, Stripe, Slack, Medium, Zendesk. There's tens of thousands of companies that use Algolia to build not just great search, but search that converts at higher rates because of the relevancy. I mean, for example, Algolia, they're powering 1.5 trillion searches a year. The tech is in fact used by 1 in 8 online users. And speaking with you today from Algolia is the Senior Systems Engineer, Ben Chad. The first step in your new headless journey, search. Ben's going to explain to you why retailers are turning to Algolia's APIs. He's also going to chat around modernizing their online shopping experiences with a composable headless approach. So he's going to deep dive into why e-commerce customers expect like this seamless omnichannel experience within milliseconds, how you can quickly transform your e-commerce site with a search plugin engine just powered by AI, when your team needs to ditch the outdated technologies in order to build an API-first tech. There's so much coming from Ben today, so please join me in welcoming him from Algolia.
Thank you very much, Raven. So what I want to do at the start is, we're all busy, and let's just take a moment out of our day and think about something completely different. And I hope that we all actually enjoy music in one way or another. It's going to be a bit of a theme that I come back to today. And what I want you to do is think about how you listen to music, or actually more importantly, how that's changed over time. Now, I'm sure that you'll actually have your own memories, but for me, the humble cassette, it's a really great reminder of the old ways in which I used to listen to music. And for all the nostalgia that I might have about cassettes or CDs or vinyl, those old ways might have had some good about them, but they also left a lot to be desired. And for one, the process of discovering new music that we take for granted today was actually very difficult back then. So in the old way, we actually discovered new music purely by chance. And the radio was the best way to actually be exposed to new songs. And when you heard something that you liked, you hoped that the DJ would come on soon and actually take the time to tell you the title and artist. Sometimes they didn't, and if you were distracted, you just missed it altogether. And then if you're unlucky, sometimes you need to wait days to discover that great song again. And then once you discovered music that you actually liked, the challenge was to find a way that you could get hold of it and consume it again and again. So going back to that theme of the old way, in the old way, we'd try and get hold of a recording to play on a Walkman. Now, buying albums on tape could actually be really expensive, especially just for the sake of a single song. So one way might have been to grab some blank tapes and record the top 40 countdown on a Sunday afternoon. I remember doing that, and I'd sit by the radio and I'd be getting ready to flip sides of the tape or change the tape at the right moment. It wasn't a great way to do it, but it worked. It got me music to consume. Now, there's of course completely different ways of engaging with music that feel old, that might sort of connect with you a bit more. Your memories might be rummaging through boxes of compact discs, or it could even be going to gigs. It feels a long time ago, but it was only 3 years ago that we were able to do that. And if we fast forward to today, we've actually transitioned from old ways to new ways of discovering and consuming music, and the market is now digital first. For some, the smart speaker is the only way that they know of to get hold of it. I know this because I had the conversation on the weekend with my daughter, and she just looks at me in complete disbelief when I tell her about cassettes and Walkmans, and she just can't understand a world without Siri. So why have companies like Apple and Spotify won the race for streaming music services? If we think about where they've won, they haven't won on price. Okay, they certainly haven't won on price. We pay them a recurring subscription. But for a small one-off outlay on some rechargeable batteries and tapes, my Walkman used to keep me occupied for a very long time. So I think the old way was cheaper. And the streaming services haven't won on product either. They might give us instant access to a huge library of music, but their offering has gaps. And for me, they're missing a way to curate a lifetime collection and a way of attaching memories to music. The old way wasn't perfect, but there was a certain joy to be had in the tactile experience of going through boxes of CDs. So when I think about how Apple and Spotify and others in their market have won, they've won because they've got the best experience. Their new ways have won out over the old ways because those brands have become exceptionally good at understanding your intent, and they're able to reach out to you on a personal level. They deliver the music that you want to hear. In the same way, we're transitioning from old ways to new ways of commerce. The old way was to invest in a single suite, and the new way is to invest in composable commerce. So we know that by 2023, Gartner predicted that organizations that have adopted composable approaches will outpace their competition by 80% in the speed at which they can adopt new features. If you want to win that commerce race, you're going to have to take composable commerce seriously. So folks, with that, my name's Ben Chad, and I'm from Algolia. My job there is to partner with our customers in Australia and New Zealand to drive business success through technology. I'm really happy to be here. I thank you for your time today. I hope that you're going to get something valuable out of this talk. And I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes or so talking about how search and discovery fits into composable commerce. So as you know, the past few years have seen a huge amount of growth in commerce, especially in Australia and New Zealand. We've been one of the biggest growing regions in the world, and that growth has only been compounded by the pandemic. Attitudes towards commerce changed because we all had to stay home for a while. And in that period of time, we've seen an acceleration of the journey companies are taking to a more digital world. And it's really complicated to get commerce environments right. You've got to have all of the right pieces in place. You have to have the right assortment of products. You have to reach out to the right people. You have to make sure they can find it. And even then, once they find products they want, you need to have the right processes for payments, delivery, returns, and so on. Now, all of that is really important. At Algolia, we focus on just one very important moment in that process. We focus on the moment where people find you and then they try to express through a digital interface what they want so that you can go and propose a product or service that they can buy. The process that I'm talking about is the process of search and discovery. It's a hugely important moment. We like to demonstrate our value, and the way that we measure the success of search and discovery is by conversion rates. Now, conversion rates are just the rates at which customers act upon intent and make a purchase. At Algolia, we know a lot about how customers convert. And historically, we know that they've actually been low for a very long time. Now, if you look at the numbers on the slide here, you might accept the baseline. And you might feel that it's okay that if you sell jewelry, then you're only going to see 1.5% of searches result in a purchase. Now, I actually put it to you that these numbers aren't the true baseline. They aren't what they could be. And you can create a huge impact on those rates if you pay attention to that really important moment of search and discovery. And to prove it, I'm going to bring you the conversion rates of one of the most successful commerce companies in the world, which is Amazon. Amazon has conversion rates of almost 13%. How do they get that? They invest enormously in search and discovery, and it pays them back $10 billion in incremental revenue every year. Now, they put in pretty hard work to get this reward. They have something like 900 engineers working day in and day out just on search elements of relevance alone. You don't have to be Amazon to get that. You can still aspire to it because Algolia believes and understands that search is an important moment for the experience of your customers, and we can lead you to get those results. So with that, I've got 3 pointers for you. Firstly, search is the first impression. Think about your own experience as a consumer. When you go to a new retail site, what's the first thing that you generally do? You search. And 43% of visitors are just like you. They search too. That's what we all do. You start off a search and discovery process to see what you can get. to see if that business has something that fits your intent or your want. Secondly, slow search is expensive. Think about what happens when you type in the search box and if results don't come back fast or if they're not relevant. If it's not what you're expecting, you're going to go back to Google or look at another brand. It's a problem for businesses when customers go away. And Amazon know that 1 second in latency can cost them $1.6 billion in sale every year. And thirdly, users actually remember bad search experiences. In the old ways of doing commerce, we were too used to thinking of physical and digital commerce as being different things. But the truth is in that the new way of doing commerce, customers expect an omnichannel experience. Every time you touch a customer, it has the potential to impact their perception of your brand. You want to be remembered for having a best-of-breed search experience and not a bad one. So in this new way, you need to think about how experiences can be seamless across any ways that your customers interact with you. They're going to expect and demand that their experience is the same in store, on the web, on the app, across all their devices, or even on that smart speaker. They want to be recognized and known wherever and whenever they interact with you. And this is one of the places where headless commerce or composable commerce comes into place. It has real, genuine value. And that concept of composable commerce is simple. You describe all of your experiences by individual moments or services that are built just once. You can go and then present those moments to your customers in different ways through many different interfaces or processes, wherever you need it. And you don't have to write that logic again. You just change how you present it. And using this architecture lets you get ahead in the race. Now, it's a race that's been going for some time, and there's standards that have been put in place by leaders in that enterprise area. Amazon's one that we've already spoken about, and another that comes to mind very easily is Netflix. You might go to Netflix with an idea of what you want to watch, and then you actually leave after a 3-day binge of a series that you've never heard of in the past, but Netflix recommended to you. And it was spot on. You really enjoyed it. Facebook, Google, Apple, they as well, they all pay enormous attention to search and discovery. So we feel that we can summarize their success with 3 basic pillars. Number 1, search and discovery has to be fast. Number 2, search and discovery has to be relevant. And number 3, search and discovery has to be intuitive. If you miss one of those 3 pillars, there's every chance that you'll get left behind in the race. Algolia's mission is to empower every company to create delightful search and discovery experiences. We're helping to bridge that gap between the average e-com shop and the companies like Amazon and Netflix and bring you closer and closer to the standards that those other companies have set and closer to the experiences that your customers now expect. There's 3 ways in which Algolia helps our customers achieve that vision of fast, relevant, and intuitive search. Firstly, we've built our own proprietary search engine. It's based on new technologies and it's free of the constraints of the past. It provides extremely fast search at scale and in over 70 languages. We're able to provide results with every keystroke in under 10 milliseconds. Secondly, we provide simple but powerful ways to manipulate search relevance. We provide search intelligence, but we also let you incorporate your own business metrics and strategy into the ranking algorithm. With our approach, businesses are able to connect intent with key outcomes, and we see an average increase in revenue of 30%. Thirdly, we're API first, and it's very easy to connect Algolia into the rest of your technology ecosystem. We have software libraries that let you deliver the front-end experience that consumers have come to expect, but also provide the customization and flexibility to make it your own. We've slashed the development time in creating search solutions, and we generally see about 5 times faster development. We've had success with customers across the globe in a variety of verticals, and this comes from the fact that we're API first and extremely flexible. We're seeing that businesses in Australia and New Zealand are starting to better understand search and discovery, and they're prioritising building out an intelligent and strategic search service. As a result, we're building out our local customer base, and we're also seeing those customers being able to differentiate themselves in the market and build loyalty with their end customers. To put it another way, Algolia provides an intelligence layer between the products and content you have and the user experience. We do this in a number of different ways. Now, we can power a lot of different parts of that search and browse experience, as you can see on the screen here. Now, to make this real, I'm going to show you some demos. They're only going to scratch the surface. They'll be very high level, but it will give you some idea of the art of the possible. The first is from JB HiFi. It's one of the largest retailers in Australia and New Zealand. Their search experience gives results from the first keystroke, and their relevance is spot on. They suggest keywords, categories, and products, and they all refine as you enter more information about your search. The search is typo tolerant. And you could see those updating, the product suggestions changing as I was adding in extra terms. The second example is 8Tracks. They're offering a guided search experience. Now, what they want you to do is find playlists, music playlists, and you don't have to even type anything at all. They're born from the idea that you should be able to find anything in 3 clicks. So if I start clicking through on different genres and artists, you see that it learns more about my intent and it updates its suggestions accordingly. And then after 3 clicks, it feels that it can present me with some final options. And the last example is LaCoste. They set out to create a best of breed search experience. Now, if I search for, say, shirt, I get instant results. But if I refine the query to also specify red, the engine's smart enough to know that red's a facet and not a keyword. And the thumbnails that are shown all revert to red wherever possible, even if other color variants are available in the catalog. And what LaCoste have said to us is that Algolia is a critical part of their navigation experience today. Not only does it provide the experience that LaCoste wants to be known for as a brand, but it's doubled their global sales. And they know that by implementing this with us, they've seen a 150% increase in sales attributed to search. They've seen a 37% increase in conversion rate. So that means that their average order value has been increasing too. And they've seen an 88% reduction in bounce rate. So you might say to me, look, Ben, that's great. How do we actually get there? What does our journey from headless, or what does our journey from a classic architecture to headless look like? So yeah, how do you go from a situation where your front end is tied to a back end to where you've got some decoupled flexibility in the middle from API to the final state of not only having back end and front end decoupled by API, but the ability to be able to substitute in best of breed components to do the job? Well, let's imagine for the sake of an example that you've decided to become a professional rock guitarist. Part of your journey is going to be getting a new guitar. You're going to need a guitar that's designed for rock. Now, are you going to get your guitar from the classic, hybrid, or headless model? It's most likely that you've actually already been playing for a while and that you have one already. There might be a beginner's instrument like the one on the screen with only the basics. And this one was actually designed for a completely different purpose. It was just meant to be an acoustic guitar to be heard in the room. It's not meant to be a rock concert to play in stadiums. Now, a guitar like this from the classic model, it just comes in one piece and there's no upgradable components. You're going to need a brand new guitar to reach your ambition. So one headless strategy might be to take a different guitar. Then you might actually already own this one, but one which has decoupled components. And slowly but surely, you can change out parts until it's the guitar that you want it to be. You might change those electric pickups that create the sound, and you might change out the cream-coloured pickguard on the body. And then later on, you don't have to do it straight away, but later on you might decide to swap out the tuning pegs or even something as extreme as the entirety of the neck. You'll keep what's not broken and still good enough for what you need to do. And this is your secondary strategy or your hybrid strategy. And then for the final option, Maybe you'll be lucky enough to start off with a brand new guitar, and you'll go for a headless strategy directly, and you'll think about the best composable components that you need to pull together to create your custom guitar that's going to set you apart from others. You get to put into your instrument exactly what you want, and you don't have any constraints of an off-the-shelf product. Now, Algolia can be the first step in both strategies. Why? We're a natural fit, and we can play a role in both because we were born API first. Now, this architecture diagram shows that Algolia can index and consume any kind of data and use it to power experiences across any endpoint. Different indexes can be searched at the same time to show multiple types of content to the user. And we can supercharge the impact you create by injecting artificial intelligence recommendations and everything that you know about the customer to increase the relevance of results. Our headless architecture means that the results and experience can be delivered to your customer on any device or channel or any context, even meaning that it might not be delivered to them directly. It might be delivered to in-store associates with iPads or to call center staff. You can extend this out to your B2B environment or to your internal search. This is the power of headless, and it's also the power of Algolia. So folks, I invite sort of questions and discussions at this point, but I also sort of encourage you to think about starting your search journey today. Algolia is here in Australia. We're open for business. Bruce McDonald and I are leading the sales team at the moment. I'd love for you to come and have a chat to us in the virtual booth, or reach out to us via LinkedIn. You know who I am, so it should be fairly easy to find me there. So again, thank you for your time, and more than happy to open up for discussion.
Thank you so much, Ben, for that. We have got a few questions that have come through that I'd love to go through with you. First of all, what are the benefits of going headless?
Yeah, I think the benefit of going headless is that flexibility that you've got. It's the idea that you're not being bound to a single vendor, a single suite anymore, and you've got the flexibility to not only substitute in best of breed components at any point, but you've also got the ability to write once and reuse everywhere. Once you've got your search experience tuned so that it's giving the most relevant results to the users in the context that they need, you can roll that out over multiple devices, multiple channels, and the experience is going to be the same everywhere.
We have got another one here. How does Algolia support an organization with multiple languages and locations all around the world?
Excellent. So look, our engine wasn't designed just for English. It's designed to be language agnostic, and it's aware of the multiple languages. So it's I think out of the box it comes set up for something like 70 different languages. Which in this part of the world it should cover all the languages that we're after. You can do all the language specific synonyms, stop word stemming, etc. that you need to do. But our customer success organization is also well set up to be able to look after you. We've got support engineers in Australia. We've got a customer success team here. There is a local team to look after you. But when you need additional support, we're also available 24/7. We've got a around the sun model and can look after you at all times.
How can we think about search experience on mobile versus web?
I think for mobile versus web, you want to think about what's the same and what needs to be different. We would certainly encourage folks to be thinking mobile first in a commerce world. I think we all know that customers are more likely to engage with you from a mobile device. But this is one of the beauties of Headless, in that, when you're building up what the results of that search experience should be and how we discover users' intent, that actually doesn't have to change. Intent is the same everywhere. I think what's different is the interfaces that the customers use to express that intent to us, and then also the interfaces that we use to sort of give feedback and communicate back to the customer. With Algolia, we have pre-packaged libraries and UIs so that you can build out the UX that you need that's appropriate to the devices. Whilst you've got the power to build out what you need, our sort of default out of the box user experiences are responsive and they adapt to whatever environments you're in.
Nice. There's just a couple more questions that have come through. First up, can Algolia help with product recommendations?
Yeah, we can actually. So I've spent today focusing on traditional search and how users will come to you and try and explain what they're looking for. We do also do product recommendations. We can set up models where we learn not only what the sort of hive mind is doing, what the general crowds are doing, and the feedback that they're giving the search engines. We can also focus on what the individual is doing and personalize on them. For use in commerce environments, we do have product recommendations. So if you want to set up some sort of widget in your commerce experience where you're giving you're sort of presenting proactively to users, people who looked at these type of products also looked at this, or people who looked at these products also bought that. We have capabilities to help surface appropriate recommendations to users there.
Nice. And we'll just take one more question here. Can Algolia integrate with my CDP?
So I actually think the way to answer that question is with another question and ask, can your CDP talk API? And if the CDP is able to talk API, then yes, we will integrate with it. And I think that's the beauty of going for a headless solution. Algolia is API first. We're set up to consume via any channel, but then also have that data influence how we're engaging on any customer facing channel. And yes, we will certainly we have integrations with CDPs. We can consume their data and use that to influence the search results that we're exposing to folk.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Ben.